On this week's show, how to find your Goldmine area.
In the news, Labour announced a new progressive property tax.
And we're going to be answering all your property-related questions. Welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Enjoy this week's show and don't forget to share it with all your friends. Hi, I'm Russell Leeds.
I'm Alistair Cunningham.
And welcome to this week's Property Investors Podcast. We've got a really good show lined up. We're going to be talking about how you can find your Goldmine area, so good places to buy your property. And we're also going to be talking about a very interesting article, Labour are introducing this new property tax, which I think is pretty, well, we haven't really talked about it yet, but it's going to be pretty interesting when we do. So it's going to be a great show. But first of all, how have you been, buddy? You had a good week?
I have had an awesome week.
Amazing.
I've been in London all day today, chilling out, enjoying the sights. Yeah, really cool. What about yourself?
That sounds brilliant. What sights have you seen?
Tower Bridge. The Thames.
We've seen everything from here. We're obviously filming this live, so if you realise, annoyingly, I'm so pissed off that these are closed.
Yeah, I must admit,
because
it'd be really
the view is, you guys won't ever see it, you watching at home, but the view is incredible. If you've been here, honestly, it's awesome. You can literally see everywhere. And when we were talking about investing earlier, we had a little networking session, and I'd say to someone, "Oh, okay, so where do you invest?" And they'd be able to show me. They'd go, oh, come over here. Over there is Woolwich, or over there. 2 or 3 people actually were pointing out we can see that much of London from here. It is
pretty
incredible.
cool because we're quite high up. We're on the 25th floor, so you get a really good view of the area. But have you ever realised the Thames was so dirty? It's filthy.
Not from here.
No, you can't see it from here, but when we're out looking out the window, it's like...
Looking from here, you saw the Thames, it was that bad?
Are you being serious or what? It's literally just there.
Yeah, but you can't tell it's dirty from here.
Well, you can tell it's discoloured. The state of it, man.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sure it is filthy, I'm sure. I
wouldn't
want to fall in it.
There is some nice...
rats in there.
Probably a few other things in there as well, to be honest.
Like what?
Like bodies.
Bodies?
Probably. I bet there is. I bet it's somewhere in the Thames there's bodies. Maybe for only like 20
People
bucks.
are saying, yeah, I'm like freaking out.
It's because they're from London. They know what happens.
Really? Body?
Yeah,
oh, gosh.
Of course.
Man, I was
So what have you been
beginning
doing
to
today
love
then?
London. Well, I've literally travelled here.
Okay.
I can get to central London in an hour on the train from Lichfield.
Yeah.
You drove, didn't you?
It took me 4 hours, yeah. And then I didn't have time to go to my hotel, so I had to come straight here because the hotel's...
Is that why you're not dressed properly?
Yeah.
Cool.
Pretty much.
Okay, so let's get cracking. How to find your goldmine area. So I suppose first of all, the question you've got to ask yourself, if you're looking for a goldmine area, is what sort of strategy? Because it will depend.
Absolutely.
What sort of strategy you're going to be doing?
Should we just pick one strategy for the time being?
Okay. Well, what do you want to pick?
HMOs.
Okay. So you want to buy a HMO?
Yeah.
What's your first tip on how to find a good area? How to find a goldmine patch that works for HMOs?
Okay, so for HMOs, the first thing you need to know is that it will work. A HMO property will work in that area. So you need to know there's demand for rooms. You need to know that there is not an oversaturation of current HMOs.
Okay.
So for instance, I just shared with Lawrence a minute ago, I've got HMO in Hull, which is generally seen as a little bit of an oversaturated area. My property went live literally, we were on Thursday, went live on Monday. I had 4 tenants by Wednesday. I just got the phone call today that they were all signed up yesterday, and they're due to move in 2 on Friday, 2 next Monday.
You had 4 tenants in 2 days?
Yep.
That is pretty impressive.
And they're paying pretty much full market rent. So
pretty much full market?
Well, I wanted 1,400 for the property, but it's actually getting about 1,360. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah?
And I didn't even buy that property. That's a lease option property. So...
One of those bloody free houses only bringing you in 1,360.
You know, it's funny because
full market rent of 1,400.
It's funny because I see this all the time on like YouTube and people making comments about how lease options aren't possible and you can't do lease options and they don't work.
That was so David Brent.
Somebody else said I done a David Brent earlier. I don't know who this guy is.
People say to me all the time on YouTube, lease options don't work.
Well, I've got multiples.
What?
Yeah. Oh man.
You
I've got multiple lease options and they're all fully tenanted. So don't tell me it don't work. And don't tell me you can't do them with using low money because I've done it with low money.
I won't tell you.
So the one in Hull was literally £750 plus legals. That was how much it cost me to get the keys. So
it's incredible.
crazy, isn't it?
You know, normally I wouldn't do this, but as we have a live audience, I think he deserves a hand.
Yeah, come on. So
I wouldn't normally do it because it would just be me and Nick. You'd be like, it would be a bit crap.
And we didn't do it. So, okay, how do we find the Goldmine area?
Okay, well, the first thing you mentioned was you need to find an area that works.
Yep.
So, how do you pick an area? How do you find an area that you know is going to work? You said you just said Hull was oversaturated, yet you still rented it out in like 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you know whether an area is going to work or not?
Well, okay. So the first thing I would do is I would always try and stay to like a large town or a city. Ideally, a university city or cities that have got things going on. So like
rather
big
than all those
hospitals.
cities that have got nothing going on.
I mean, there's places up north, mate, where there's cities
Like
and there's nothing going on.
Like Blackpool. Sorry, Glenn.
There is places where there's just not a lot of activity. There's no jobs. There's not a lot of industry.
Yeah, so a big city, bustling city, a lot of things.
Big,
university, businesses, etc.
Cities that have got training hospitals are good as well because they have a lot of turnover of people there.
I found that a lot actually. When we were like, obviously we were managing a lot of properties in Wolverhampton and Walsall, and the ones that were near the hospitals, they would just go like that. Yeah, like that.
Do you know, interestingly, like both my lease option HMOs, they were both filled up within 2 weeks. Like, and they're near universities, they're near hospitals, they're near city centres. So
okay, so you pick an area, big town, big city, whatever it is. It's bustling, got a lot of people. You now got to look and see whether you think it's going to work. So
and also there has to be a supply of property in that area that will be suitable for HMOs.
Well, that's the next thing. Once you found a good area, then you need to test the ROI, right?
Yeah,
so you pick the area first. So you found an area, you go on places like Spare Room.
Yeah. And
you have a look and you see what.
How much they're renting out for, how much rooms are renting out for, and how much you can buy a property for. If the properties are like Samuel has a rule of thumb, it's not set in stone. £25,000 to £30,000 per lettable room. So if the property is £300,000, it's a 4-bed, it ain't really going to work. So you've got to have a supply of property around about 100k.
It's all about the ROI.
Yeah.
So if you're spending £40,000 a room, but you're getting good return on investment, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay, so if you're spending 40k per room, property is typically what, 160, 200?
Yeah.
But you could buy 2 properties at 100k and have 8 rooms.
True. Don't have much of a comeback for that. That is true. But what I'm talking about, if you got a good return on investment, so let's say, for example, let's say you bought one for 120. Okay, I suppose this begs the question now about 3-bed HMOs and stuff like that. But let's say you bought one for 120 that gave you a good ROI on a 3-bed.
Yeah.
Does it matter that it's only 40 grand a room? It doesn't, does it?
Well, it doesn't matter, but would it not be better to diversify a little bit? I think it would. Have less risk. I would rather have...
120 grand is not a big risk, is it, surely?
It is to some people. Who thinks £120,000 a big risk? It's all right, money bags.
Okay, but you're not putting in 120 grand cash,
120 grand, that's nothing, isn't it? Well, come on, man.
All right. Okay.
Right. So, if you're going to spend like £40,000, £50,000 on a property, you could easily get 2 or 3, not 3, but you could get 2 properties.
True.
Like there's certain places in the country, like Liverpool, you can get
what's the advantage of getting 2 properties over 1 property?
Because you have more rooms, that's more risk. So
it's not more. If the ROI is the same, what's the advantage? We just talked about ROI.
So you're talking about ROI. Okay,
yeah. So what's the advantage of having 2 over 1? Because if you think about it,
from an ROI point of view, there's not, because it's the same
from an
amount
ROI
of money.
point of view, there's not, and it also means you've got double the work to manage 2 properties.
Why have we got double the work?
Well, it's not.
How many properties do you have, Russell? I know how you're going to answer this question. You have properties, yeah? Do you do the work?
Believe me, right? Believe me now, okay?
He's getting stressed.
I'm not getting stressed. You're not going to beat me in an argument, I hope. Right. Here's the thing. You're right. Don't tell me that you don't do any work on your properties at all, even if it's just managing the managers.
Yeah, I do, absolutely, but it's minimal. I actually, when I first got involved, I was very hands-on, and you know it was because I was tiling.
I told you off,
and you had to go at me about it. You said, "What are you doing, man?" And I very quickly learned to get a HMO manager to do
But
it all.
even with a HMO manager, you've still got to step in at times.
Yeah, but it's minimal.
Yeah.
I think I would rather. I personally,
Okay, come back
from
to
an
it. Forget that.
ROI point of view, it makes no difference because the money in, money out. Yeah. But from a risk point of view, I would rather have 8 tenants paying 8 different rents than 4 tenants paying rent. Because if 2 tenants stop paying rent in the 4 properties, in the 4 rooms, you're only getting 2 rents.
True.
It's just. I
True.
think
You've also
all
got the
eggs in
capital
one basket
appreciation of
on
2 properties going in
yeah,
rather than one.
yeah.
But again, what I was going to say is it depends on the area. So if
Yeah.
you bought 2 properties in a bit of a crap area, but then you bought one in an area that was going up, who knows? But anyway, it's more about your ROI. But okay, 25, 30 grand, 35 maybe.
Yeah.
Birmingham's a bit more expensive, where we've got some now. Other areas are a bit cheaper. So you find an area, you go on Spare Room, you check and you look at, and one of the things that Simon always talks about at the crash course is when you look on Spare Room, you've got 2 different types of ads. You've got people that are advertising properties,
Yeah.
and then you've got people that are advertising themselves.
Yeah, it's a bit weird,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It is a bit weird. And people always say, oh, there's more properties than there are people looking. But the thing you've got to remember is that everyone puts their property on, whereas most people that are looking for a property don't put themselves on. As someone, they just go and look at the properties. Like
Most sane people don't.
yeah,
you know?
most sane people do, yeah. So you can't judge it totally by that, but you can get an idea.
Do you know what I like about Spare Room is it lists a lot of HMO managers because they're generally advertising the rooms, so you can ring them up.
Yeah.
And they don't. Sometimes if you like Google HMO managers in a specific area, they're not advertising. But you find them on Spare Room and open rent and things like that.
Yeah, and the truth, and the thing is that they're often very honest.
Yes.
Because they don't want a property that they can't rent out.
Exactly.
Because it's just hassle.
It is hassle.
As someone that's managed loads of HMOs, I certainly didn't want any unless they're brand new and just desperate for business.
Yeah.
Anyone that's been established a bit, they will be honest with you about the area where it works, whether it's saturated or not, the type of rent you'll get. So ring in those. So do a little bit of due diligence.
Do you know, in Hull, I've found the HMO managers are actually turning a lot of people away because they're saying, look, we want to look at your property first. And then even they come out and they look at it and they're like, no, it's rubbish. We're not going to rent it. We're not even interested in putting it on our books.
Yeah.
So they're making them very high standard. And that's where...
And they'll be like, oh, it's on that street. No.
Yeah, exactly. They know the streets that work. They know what works. So, and they also know what rents out quickly. And that's why there's a lot of people say HMOs don't work. Right, they do. There's loads of people say it online. They say HMOs don't work. They don't fill the rooms up, things like that. Right? The reality is, when you start looking at the property that they're trying to rent out, I wouldn't live there. Like, would you live? Like, some of them are just disgusting.
No, but you wouldn't live in a HMO full stop.
Yeah, but if I was, I wouldn't live in some of these minging rooms. And like they've got dirty furniture. Like, it's just disgusting. And I've looked at hundreds and hundreds of HMOs. And many of them are filth, and they're absolutely grim. And like I'm like, no wonder this place will not rent out. So this is true. Like my property in Wolverhampton, we were talking about this actually on the podcast we filmed yesterday, but I'll just quickly share. The landlord, when I was agreeing the terms on the lease auction, the landlord said to me, "You'll never get more than £600 for this property." And I'm like, okay, thank you for sharing. Just I'm happy to take that risk. And he said, "You're crazy. You're going to regret this." That property rents out for £1,600 because I put a little bit of effort and time into it, and I've made it immaculate. And he wasn't prepared to do that. And my time and effort to make it immaculate cost £4,000. So in 3 months, that I've got that back. So the ROI on that property is crazy. It's utter crazy.
That was a lease option as well.
Lease
wasn't it?
auction, yes. Yeah. And interestingly, I can buy it in 5 years, and it's already worth what I've agreed to buy it in 5 years for.
That's awesome.
Thank you. So that's the second step.
Don't clap him again. You know, he's already had a clap once before. That's enough claps for him now. You've got another lease option you want clapping for.
I have actually, but we'll save that for another day. Okay, so they've got to be a supplier of properties in the area. Reasonably priced properties that.
So pick an area that's reasonably cheap to buy.
Yep.
Look at 35 grand per room, per lettable room. Then go on Spare Room, ring the managers, have a look what the demand's like, see what.
I personally wouldn't just ring the manager. So that when you're picking your Goldmine area, you want your Goldmine area to be your area. You should know that inside out. So Samuel talks about big days. Get out there. Boots on ground, get out there. Go into the agents, actually go and sit down with them. And you'll find if you make the effort to go and actually sit down in front of a letting agent, they'll have a lot more time for you. If you just ring them up, guess what? You're just another random calling them up, asking for free advice. And what happens when people ring us for free advice?
I say, watch the podcast.
Watch the podcast.
Ask a question on there.
Yeah.
And I'll maybe answer it.
Yeah, exactly. But you're not going to spend very long with them, are you?
No.
Whereas if they take the effort to actually go into that estate agent and say, look, I'm looking to get a HMO in the area. I'm looking for somebody to manage it. Can you just, before I make a rush into someone, I want to just get a little bit of advice. Can you just advise the best places? And obviously I'll and if need be, offer to pay for their time. Say, look, I'll happily pay for an hour of your time if you can just help me. Cost you 30 quid or 40 quid or whatever it is. It's well worth it. I've done this in Doncaster. I went to an agent in Doncaster and I literally just walked in and I said to them, look, I'm looking to buy some properties in the area. I don't want to buy the wrong ones. Can I just sit down with you for half an hour? I'm more than happy to cover your costs and pay for your time. If you can just advise me the best places, and any I buy, I will happily use your services. And they were the most helpful people. I was in there for like an hour and a half. They actually took me out and we went and looked at some properties and looked at some areas. And they told me all the Goldmine areas in Doncaster, all the streets to buy in, the streets to avoid. And that's why the last 2 or 3 properties I bought in Doncaster for investors, as a sourcing business, they've rented out within 2 weeks. That's why, because I've done my due diligence first. I didn't rush into a property and then say, now we need to get a letting agent for it. I've done it the other way around.
Yeah. And then the other thing you can do, I suppose, is once you've highlighted the areas, you can just wait for properties to come up. You can have, if you've gone and done this in different areas and just wait for the properties to come up. Because there might be a street that's a brilliant street, it's got nothing for sale right now.
What lesson's that? Don't be a motivated buyer. Be a patient buyer.
Yeah.
Property's a long game. You've got to be in the long game. Don't rush out and just buy a house because you're desperate to get one in your Goldmine patch.
Yeah. You could even set up like right move alerts, couldn't you?
Alerts,
Pick little areas that are going to work well. Have the alerts coming through. So as soon as one comes up in that area, bang, you get an email come through.
Yeah.
Letting you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
The price. You can set the price and the amount of rooms and stuff you want. So be well.
And also, Rightmove. It's about 6 months ago. They added a feature keyword for up and running HMOs. So ideally, do you know, if you're looking for your Goldmine patch and there's up and running HMOs in there that are for sale, that are a bit run down, they're the good ones to buy. Especially once you've confirmed by a letting agent that they'll work.
Yeah.
So that's step 3. Make sure there's a supply of property, and you spoke to a letting agent.
Yeah.
What would be step 4?
Step 4 is to work out your ROI.
ROI.
How much is it going to cost? How much are you going to get out of it? And make sure it stacks. You want to be looking at 20% plus.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
There's no point doing it for less than that.
There's not, but I've got a massive list of investors overseas all over the place, and I've got investors that are very happy with 10%.
There are some, but when it's very easy to make 20,
why would you make 10?
Why would you make 10?
Yeah. So I would add a 5th step to this. Power team. You need to know that in your area you've got a good power team, or you've got access to people that can assist if you're doing any refurb, because we don't always want to be doing the work ourselves. So as a company, we've built a network of builders, contractors, all sorts, plumbers, electricians, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you want me to share how I've done that?
Yes, please.
Do you want me to share how I've done that?
Yes, please.
Well, I don't. I've been outvoted, so go on.
Okay. I'm gonna have to. Can you keep it quiet? You have to. Don't promise. This doesn't leave this room. Is that all right? Yes. Your letting agent. That's all I need to say. Your letting agent has a list of all these people. A list of people that they are trusted, that they are cheap, and they've done plenty of work for the letting agent, and they're not going to let you down. The letting agent is your best source and supply of tradesmen. That's it. You heard it here first.
We did.
So what about step 7?
Well, you're just adding steps now.
Yeah, why not?
We keep doing it and keep going. Okay, step 7.
Can I add one thing? Unless you know it.
Go on, you go.
Right, okay. Go and visit the area. And go and visit the area at night.
Kind of mentioned that before. Oh, night though. We didn't mention night.
Yeah, go and visit it at night. Case in point, I sold a property to an investor. And he did go and visit it at night and realised there was quite a few unsavoury people hanging around near the property and things like that.
Did he say hi to you?
Yeah, he helped pick me up.
And who's that unsavoury? Oh, there's loads of HMO people that are just scouting the area out.
I would always.
This is just Alistair's excuse for going around. Like, if he ever gets caught, he's like, "Oh, I did say, I hang around dodgy areas at night."
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, just I would go up there and look at night, make sure see what's going on at night, because a lot of
So what's the best story you've had when you've done this? What's the best thing you've seen?
Oh man.
Go on.
No, I can't.
You can't say that.
Right.
If you
There's
just
two.
got-
There's two.
Okay, that's even better. What's the first?
Oh man. Right. Okay.
If you didn't
This
wanna
was
do
in
it, you should've
Hull.
gone like this.
This was in
Nothing
Hull.
really.
Right. This was in
Go
Hull.
on. Yeah.
I sold a property to an investor. It was on a road called Cholmley Street. It's in HU3. Really nice house. Really nice house. But at the end of the house is a drive, and so it's the end terrace, and there's a nice drive. And my investor turned up to look at the house, and he found a woman passed out, drunk, middle of the day, in the front, hanging
Middle
over
of
the
the
wall.
day?
Yeah. Turns out she was a bit of a local drug dealer, a local drug addict, and he pulled out the property. He said he didn't want to do it anymore because she was like she'd sort of leant against the wall and she's passed out. She was covered in sick and all that, and it was in his front garden. So and his new house.
This is the house I recommend you buy.
He did phone an ambulance, but and then he rung me up and he goes, Alistair, that house I just bought from you. I've just found a drug addict in the front garden. I think you might have to find me another one. And okay, fair enough.
All right.
Can't argue with that really.
So I'm guessing the other one's worse.
I'm not going to reveal the other
You've
one.
got to tell the other one
because it involves somebody that
Don't name them.
right,
tell
fine,
the story.
okay. So it's in Wolverhampton. It was at my HMO.
Okay.
Right. Turns out it's in the red light district. Seriously, it is. And so we, a couple of us were actually out in Wolverhampton one night.
In the red light district?
No. And my HMO was finished, fully furnished, immaculate, ready to go. So we just decided to stay there one night instead of booking a hotel. And as we were all walking back from the town at like 2 o'clock in the morning, there was more prostitutes than I've ever seen in my life. And we all got propositioned.
And you have been to Amsterdam, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been to Amsterdam.
There's more in Wolverhampton.
Yes. Yes. And
Don't
like,
say yes
literally,
like that. Yes. Yes. Why do you think I bought a house there?
Yeah. And they literally hang outside the front of the house, just probably 20, 30 yards that way, because we're right at the very end of the street, and it's like a known area for them. But do you know what? I don't care because it rents out. Couldn't care. I don't care, but see, some investors do. Because some investors get emotionally tied to things.
Well, hold on. What I don't get about that story is, like, why did you not want to name the person?
Because I've not told the full story.
Okay. I knew there was more. What happened?
No, just because he's a student and he got offered student discount and all sorts. Student discount?
Really? Did you have to show his NUS card?
No. It's funny. He asked. We were only playing games with him, but he asked, and she said, "Yeah, I'll do student discount." It's like, come on, man. Move on. Come on. But the interesting thing, there's a key lesson here. Don't get emotionally tied to the property you're buying. It's an investment. Doesn't matter what's going on there, as long as the tenants are happy to live there. Yes?
When you said you were playing games with them.
Not like that. As in, we were walking past, and they were trying to proposition us, and we were just having a laugh, and then we just continued walking.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Cool.
Not like that.
So go late at night. 2 a.m. What's the perfect time?
I don't know. I've never been there again since.
No, but to go and check out what a property at night. What's the perfect
I
time?
would say early evening.
7?
Yeah, 7. Just see what's
Really?
going on nearby. See what. I know somebody that went and literally parked outside his HMO and stayed there like 5 hours just to see what's going on. See if there's people.
Well, I know someone that was selling a house, and the people that were buying it said to them, "Listen, we want a quiet house. Is it quiet?" And they said, "Yeah, it's quiet." I'm like, okay, can we come round one evening and just sit in your lounge and just make sure that it is quiet? And they were like, okay, yeah, sure. And then they just came around, they just sat there all evening, and then they were like,
interesting.
yeah, it's quiet enough, and they left.
Yeah, but that's clearly not an investment property. That's a property, a home.
Yeah, of course.
So that's obviously a bit more important because nobody wants to live in a noisy home with noisy neighbours. So I get that, but as an investment property, as long as the property has good demand and will rent out, then I think we're fairly happy with
Cool.
that.
And the final thing that I would say as well, if finding Goldmine, not really Goldmine area, but what would you look for if you're buying, because we're talking about HMOs, what would you look for in a house to make sure that it's a good, going to be a good. I suddenly lost the ability to speak, which is bad considering this is a podcast. But I really have. What do you look for in a house to make sure that it's going to be a good HMO?
You mean condition-wise or layout or anything?
Dude, everything.
Okay. So we always try and work with 4 bedrooms. The reason being is 3 bedrooms I don't think is enough. And typically the reason being is because if you say a 4-bedroom property, approximate 1 week will pay your mortgage or your lease option or whatever. 1 week's rent, that is. And then the other week's rent will pay the bills. And that leaves 2 full rents, which is profit.
1 week's rent or one room?
No, that's 2.
Sorry.
So typically a HMO, about 45% of the income goes out to expenses and costs, mortgages and things like that. So you make sort of 45
so if you do a
55%.
3-bed, you're losing 25%.
Yeah, and then if you have one tenant, if you have a void period, something like that, it's just a little bit hard on a 3-bed. So I would always go, I wouldn't do a 3-bed.
And 4 is ideal because with 5, you need the licensing
you go
and
to
all that sort of
licensing.
stuff. Okay,
But
so
I don't like 5.
that's what I said because you need the
No,
licensing.
I would rather go 6.
Yeah,
So I would rather do 4 or 6 or 7.
I agree.
Because 5 is just not worth that extra.
For all the extra hassle.
It's not
Whereas
worth
with
it.
6, it is.
It is, yeah. 'cause
So
you
4
know-
or 6.
Yeah, 4 or 6. But a good 5 is already up and running, slightly different. But I wouldn't convert. If you're going to go to all the effort and money of converting a normal
4
house into
to a 5.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
go
yeah.
above, yeah.
Okay, so you're looking for 4 lettable rooms. And by lettable room, it needs to be 70 square feet.
Minimum 70 square feet. However, that does vary slightly if you put en suites in now. But all I would do is, your Goldmine patch, you need to know the rules. And who is the best source of rules in that Goldmine patch? Council, HMO officer at the council. And actually, do you know, they're really helpful. They really want to help you. So they're not
Out to get you.
They're not out to get you. They're not out to try and stitch you up. They're out to help you. So if you go to them first and say, look, I'm thinking of buying this property. Again, you might have to pay for their time. Last time I got somebody out, it was £95. They come out and they went through the whole property for me and they assessed everything. And they said, look, this will work and it will be good and it would be very easily get a license because that was going to be a 6-bedder. So speak to the HMO officer, you'll get good results from that. The other thing is local HMO manager. Ask them about the rules and regulations for an area. And also things like be aware of Article 4. If it's not enforced at present, find out when it's going to be enforced, if that information is available.
Yep.
Now, the government and the council have to give you 12 months notice before they enforce it.
Actually, we should have mentioned that really, and they're looking for the area. You need to make sure it's not an Article 4 area.
Yeah.
Because if it is, even if everything else stacks up,
You've got to get planning.
and it just doesn't. It just
It's
doesn't
not
happen,
worth
does
it. It's
No.
not worth it. But also with Article 4, there's certain places it's not city, like Wolverhampton, it's citywide, right? Walsall, there's none.
There's a road. There's a
Okay,
tiny
I was just
little
going to
bit.
get to that. Some areas have just like Liverpool's got like about 20 roads.
Birmingham's got a little bit.
Yeah. So don't just think Article 4, that's it, I'm done, I can't invest in that city. Hull's the same. Hull's got a little bit of Article 4, but actually the best places to get HMOs are outside the Article 4. That's why, and I think they've just done it, in 12 months' time, Article 4 has now been extended to cover that area.
I genuinely blame Samuel for Wolverhampton's Article 4.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I genuinely do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was just buying them left, right,
Yeah.
and then suddenly they put Article 4 in. But
Do you know what's good with areas that got Article 4? There's always tired landlords in there, always. And like Wolverhampton's got a lot of up and running HMOs that are just run down, landlords want rid of them, and they're cheap.
yeah,
And it's a good area to rent out.
very, very true. Awesome, brilliant. Well, I think we've covered that. It's now time for this. Okay, so in the news this week, this has just been announced, Labour's progressive property tax explained. So Labour are basically proposing a new property tax, but the levy will be paid by the landlords rather than the tenants.
Okay.
Which shocks me. I wouldn't have thought Labour would do something like that, but hey ho. Labour is considering replacing council tax with a new progressive property tax. Yeah, it's bad already, isn't it?
It is
That
pretty
would
terrible.
set nationally and paid by property owners rather than the tenants. The proposals are part of a raft of policy recommendations in a Labour Commission report on land use. The aim is to reduce the tax paid by the majority of households and discourage the use of homes as financial assets.
Why are the government always trying to punish landlords?
Who knows?
Always.
So yeah, I mean, so that's kind of the basic. So basically, what the plan will be is rather than having a usual council tax, it'll be a different scheme where the homeowner pays the council tax rather than the tenants, which is just like like you say, it's another thing of the government trying to hit landlords. And what do you make?
It's not going to hit landlords, is it? Because what's going to happen to rent?
Well, the rent's going to go up.
The landlord's going to pass it on to the tenants. Of course they are. I actually sort of don't mind that, because if you don't pay council tax, so let's just say, look, some tenants have a habit of not paying council tax. Now, we were actually, I was having a meeting the other day with a bailiff, right? This is true. He wasn't after me, by the way.
He knocked on your door.
He knocked on my door and we had a little chat. No, I was actually having a meeting with the bailiff the other day, and the biggest collection they do is for council tax. It's for people that are in council tax arrears. And that's where tenants obviously are not paying their council tax. Now, the properties get a black mark against the name. And who suffers from that? The property owner.
Have you ever suffered from that?
No.
Has anyone here ever suffered from that?
No.
It doesn't sound like a massive problem.
Well,
Carry on.
it is a massive problem. Because I wouldn't want my property being blacklisted as owing council tax.
Are you sure about that?
I'm not sure it's an official thing, but it does I wouldn't want that tag. So if the tenants are not paying the council tax,
I don't think that's correct.
It might not be, but I just still wouldn't want
Might
it.
not be, but I just
wouldn't want it. No, I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want my property being in some sort of blacklist, whatever, as owing council tax, because sometimes you're talking thousands and thousands of pounds, and the problem is, if that tenant then leaves, the debt is always with the tenant, but it's also with the property.
No, it isn't.
They'll still come to that property.
They won't.
According to this bailiff, they will still come to that property.
Because they might go to the property,
yeah,
then they'll go, sorry, that
fine.
tenant's gone, they'll go, oh.
But it could still cause problems for the people that move into it, because they've got bailiffs knocking on the door, all sorts, and it's not nice.
Well, do you want to know something interesting?
Yeah.
I just had a letter come to the door because I wasn't paying my council tax.
That's why, that's
Right.
why.
Because I'd moved house.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten to let that. It's the same council. I'd forgotten to cancel the one, and set it up on the other house.
You're a bit of a nightmare for not changing addresses, aren't you?
I'm not very organised when it comes to stuff. So, so they rang me up. Well, I had this letter through, and because I've been away a lot, been travelling a lot, I opened the post.
Wait, hang about.
What?
Where have you been travelling?
What do you mean?
Where have you been travelling?
We were doing events all the time.
Okay, I thought you meant abroad. Oh no, sorry, you lost your passport. No, sorry.
That is a true story. I was meant to go away with Alistair last week, and agreed to meet at the airport at 3. We're going to Barcelona, and I rang him at 1. I was like, I can't find my passport. I'm sure I'll find it, and then I still haven't found it. I couldn't go. It cost me thousands, but whatever.
Yeah,
whatever. So that was really annoying. Yeah, I'm not very good at stuff. Remember. So I rang them up. They got like a court date come through for me. And I rang them. I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. I actually have been paying it just to the wrong house, and they were like, oh yeah, and they just changed it over. It was fine. But what my point is that they came after me, and what happened was they originally went after the old tenant, and they were like, no, it's Russell Leeds that lives there now, and then they came after me, and it wasn't after the house. It was definitely after me.
Yeah, I mean the bailiff. That's not what he.
But however,
he comes after you, but they'll always keep going back to that house until you can prove.
Yeah, sure. But let me tell you why you're wrong. Because you said that the only thing that will change is you'll put the rent up, which is true.
Yeah,
the landlords will do that. However, do you know when you got one of those annoying tenants that doesn't pay? Suddenly, you're now losing your rent, and you're having to pay out.
That's true.
Money for your council tax.
It does seem that no matter what happens, the government are trying to always find a stick to batter landlords.
Yeah,
they're always trying to find that stick, and it gets bigger and bigger every time.
So I don't think it's a great. But let's just hope that it doesn't come in. But there you go. I don't know what your thoughts are. If you've got thoughts, please comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, please comment below. Let us know what you think of this, or if you've got any more insight into this. But a bit of a depressing. Well, it's like the news in general, isn't it?
The news is terrible. It's always depressing.
But,
so
yeah. So a bit
I wouldn't.
Anyway, we're going to lift your spirits now with this. Right, so it's now time for the questions and answers. Unlike usual, we're not going to be reading them from our phones. We're going to be asking our beautiful live audience that are here with us today. So, does anyone have a question? Yes. Stand up, please.
So, when trying to stack a deal, and I want this answer for a HMO and a serviced accommodation.
Man, you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of price are you looking at to refurb it? So, from a HMO perspective, how much to put a bed, a wardrobe, drawers and curtains and things like that, lampshade. How much do you associate in your head when you're looking at a deal? And the same with the service accommodation as well. So obviously there's a living room and stuff associated with that as well. So what kind of numbers are you based on to do a rough figure in your head?
Can I go with this? I've just done it. I've just done it in one of my HMOs.
Keep talking to this mic.
Oh, this mic, sorry. I'm going to have my back to you, sorry. Love you, man. Right, listen, I've just done it with a 4-bed HMO in Hull. It cost just under £5,000 to fully furnish that place, dress the place, and that's including all the cutlery, bedding, things like a little nice, like, towel holders. Do you know all the stuff?
I can tell that you like the finishing touches. Things like
I don't do it.
You know, and,
I have no idea
things
about
like
but
light shades.
light shades. Do you know everyone forgets light shades? It's true. And
they're a fiver, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like if you forgot that off your budget, it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not the end of the world. But everyone forgets some. People forget cutlery when they're doing HMOs, and they only put like the bare minimum of plates in. Always put doubles. But yeah, about £5,000 for a 4-bed HMO. Every room is approximately £500 to £600, depending on what quality furniture you're going for. And I wouldn't be buying your furniture. Lease it. It's the most tax efficient way to do it. So don't buy, lease it, because then you can have it as an expense.
Do you know any companies that offer leasing furniture?
Absolutely.
Who?
So Better Sourced, we do this. We do this on a day-to-day basis. We have a guy that specialises in furnishing and dressing properties. Service accommodation is around about the same, but it depends how many bedrooms there is. So again, go by the £500 to £600 per room. But it depends how high end you want to go.
Oh, I think service accommodation is very different actually.
Yeah.
Because it could be a 1-bedroom apartment. Yeah. It could be an 8-bedroom, B&B start. So how can you really gauge that?
So let's just say it's a 2-bed apartment.
What I would say is that for me, your service accommodation, you want to be higher end than your HMO. You want it to look nicer. You want to have things like light shades and things like that. You know. Do you know? With
a HMO, you want hard wearing everything. Hardware and furniture, hardware and beds. And actually in service accommodation you want hardware and beds as well. Yeah. I had, my service accommodation was up for a month and they broke 2 of the beds. Man, it's like, I don't know what they were doing.
I'm sorry.
Oh, was it you? You did stay there actually. Cheers, man.
No, when I said that it was already broken, I can assure you.
Yeah, no, you did. So yeah, man, I hope that answered your question. Cheers,
brilliant.
Man.
Cheers, Glenn. Give him a hand. Your hand is the highest. Please stand up. We'll get Mike on
and
you.
It was waving, so that's good.
Hand high and waving.
Hello.
Hello.
My name's Sean. If you have a compliant rent-to-rent business, and you find a lot of deals that you obviously perhaps can't afford to take them all on yourself, so you want to sell it on, package it up and sell it on, do you need to have a separate sourcing company, or can you already, as a compliant rent-to-renter, just sell that one and not have to have a separate?
No, can't do it, because the compliance is different for each company. So you have to have a separate company set up for a sourcing. So the compliance for rent-to-rent is not the same as the compliance for deal sourcing.
But could you have a company that was compliant for both?
You could, you could, but you'd have to have additional compliance. So the question was, you've got a compliant rent-to-rent business, but that doesn't mean it's compliant for deal sourcing. No, so you'd have to add things to it.
Yeah, you could do that rather than. I think my point is.
Do you want me to tell you why you should do separate?
2 companies.
Do you want me to tell you why
you want
separate?
2 companies.
You do want 2 companies. Do you want me to tell you why? If you sell a deal and it goes terribly wrong and they sue you or something, you don't want to take down your rent-to-rent business at the same time. Yeah. So you want to keep. That's why it's a limited company. So you want to keep them. You want to keep them separate.
Yeah.
I would always keep them separate. Yeah, always.
But that means learning to,
But if you're going to do two things, you need to learn two things anyway.
Of course, no, I'm not saying that, but if you're really focusing on one strategy, it's taking your time to learn that, but you're seeing all these deals that maybe people want offer you to then go and be an actual deal sourcer and be someone who's good at that. I don't want to just be cowboying things all around the place, you know?
I'm sorry, you're going to have to do it properly. There's no two ways about it. If you want to do it properly. There's too many cowboy deal sources in the country, and I don't want you to become one of them. Please don't. So just do it properly from the offset. If you do it properly, you've got nothing to worry about.
But the fact that you're asking these questions and the way that you're conducting yourself right now, I've got no doubt that you would do that anyway. Absolutely. And you know about it. So just do it. Get two companies if you want, or just think, you know what, it's not worth setting up another company to make the odd $2,500.
It depends. How many are you thinking you're going to sell?
Well, it's really that because I'm specialising in rent-to-rent, you do see a lot of deals, and being at the beginning, let's say you find 4 deals, which can happen because you go and view a lot of properties, you put a lot of offers on the table, happy days, 4 deals come back to you, you don't have the finances for those 4 deals. I was thinking, you know, there's a lot of people out there that maybe want to buy a deal off you, but I don't necessarily want to be setting up a deal sourcing business at the same time.
Do you want me to tell you, do you want me to give you some advice, something that I've learned over the last few years? As entrepreneurs, and I'd say most people that are here probably would consider yourself as an entrepreneur, yeah? Yeah? People that want to be able to make money. We don't like leaving money on the table. We see opportunities like this and we're like, oh, I could be selling these, I could be doing that. And for me, when I started, very much that was the case. It was, I want to do this, I want to do that. Hey, I could manage properties, I could do bam, 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 I could do this, and But what you actually find is that it often helps to focus on something. So for me, even though some of my companies, like we had a deal sourcing company, and it was making like 30 grand a month, and we just closed it down because it was taking our time and energy away from the stuff we actually wanted to do. And it was a case of it's not worth it for us. And we passed all our leads over to Alistair, who was also doing the same thing. So sometimes it is okay to leave money on the table, and sometimes if it's going to distract you from doing what you actually should be doing and what your mission is and what your goal is, it's best just to put all your focus into that. It's not always the case. I'm not saying be stupid. There are times when where it makes sense to monopolise it, but for me, quite often, if you're not sure and I don't know if I can be, then it's best just to not do it and just focus on what you want to do. Does that make sense?
Can I just quickly say something as well? So your main business is rent to rent. Why don't you flip it around and make your main business deal sourcing? And then have the rent to rent as a subsidiary from the deal sourcing. So you're out finding rent to rent deals, you've said. So why don't you set up a deal sourcing compliant business? You've just said you found 4 deals. Sell 3 for £2,000-3,000. Keep one yourself.
But that's
so at the minute,
2 separate companies.
they're 2 separate companies. But what I would say is you're focusing on the rent to rent at the minute. So why don't you focus on the deal sourcing? Because that's going to generate you more money. There's no 2 ways about it. I love rent to rent. I love rent to rent service accommodation. Typically, a rent to rent service accommodation might make you £1,000 a month. Like, I know there's people out there making crazy money. There's also people out there only making £400 a month.
I'm rent to rent HMO.
Right. So how much is it going to make you a month?
On average, 700 to 1,000 cash flow per property.
Cash flow per property. So it's a little bit passive. But if you go active income and you sell 1 deal a month, that's £3,000 a month.
Yeah, but you might not want to do that.
You might not want to.
What do you want to do?
What do you want to do?
The thing is, I actually live in the Canary Islands, and I've come here for the summer to set this business up. So I suppose.
Do you know what? I wouldn't even bother with the deal sourcing at all, personally.
If you live in the Canaries and you're looking for passive income, rent to rent. If you're looking to build up a pot of money, deal source, and then use that money to build passive income. That's exactly what I done. So it just depends what you want out of this.
Yeah, I suppose just that I live abroad.
Or
makes sense to me to have
team up with a deal sourcer and say, hey, I've got these brilliant deals. If you sell them, can you give me a fee for passing them your way? And then you haven't got all the hassle of setting up the compliance.
Sell it to a deal sourcer.
Not sell it to a deal sourcer.
A lower rate.
Not sell it. Just let them sell it on and let them give you a cut.
Right.
And then you haven't got to have the hassle then. Then it's just a conversation with a deal source and you can agree a joint venture. Then you haven't got to do all the crap.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. Give her a hand.
This lady, sorry, she was waving her hands, and she was like looked really energetic. So.
Sorry, I couldn't see you got your back to me.
Yeah,
Get a mic on you?
that's why. Yeah. Button in. Sorry, man.
It's alright, bro.
Hi, thanks.
Hey.
So the only areas I keep hearing is Wolverhampton, Hull. Would you be able to give me 6 areas that you have invested in?
No, we only invest in Wolverhampton and Hull.
6 areas that we invested,
That you currently have invested in properties.
me or my investors I deal with, because I deal with thousands of investors.
Or just any 6 areas that you think are the best for buying and renting out.
What strategy?
HMOs.
Okay. Okay, let's go. Doncaster. Yeah. Do you want to write this down?
Yeah. Or is it in the podcast?
It will be on the podcast, because that's what we're filming.
In other words, because you just watch it next week.
Right, okay, so you don't have to write it down then. Doncaster, Sunderland, Gainsborough, Lincoln, Manchester, Salford.
Oh, wait.
See? It's going to be in the podcast.
Sorry.
Okay, I can't remember now. Right, okay, Gainsborough, Lincoln, some parts of Preston, but only some parts. Liverpool, very good. How many am I? Have I done more than 6? Okay, so Kettering, Corby, Peterborough.
Who do you want to buy in Corby?
Corby's good, man, for HMOs.
Is it?
No, I don't worry too much about South, because the ROI it drops instantly. But there is like some places right down south, like Southampton places are good, some places in Brighton, but the prices, your ROI is going to drop. So it's all about what you're comfortable with.
I can probably add 2 as well. You want to write it down? Wolverhampton, Hull.
Did you get Hull and Wolverhampton?
I got it.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Give her a hand!
Anyone else? The guy just at the very back, right in front of you, Ben.
I wanted to ask, you mentioned having 2 companies, right? One for deal sourcing and one maybe for property overall.
Yeah.
As you said, it's best because if they sue you to the ground, your properties don't go bust, right? Now, the thing is, what if you want to be a deal sourcer in order to actually fund the deposit for your property and everything that you can't really, how do you transfer the funds in between
Directors' loans.
companies?
Loans. So you do a loan between company to company.
You can do that with your own company.
Yeah, you need to speak to an accountant. We can't give accountancy advice, but speak to your accountant, because it's very possible. It's very, very possible.
Thank you.
The guy just in front of you.
I thought you were going to say, we can't give accountancy advice, but, and I was expecting something, but, speak to your accountant.
No, we can, because if we
answer.
give you the wrong advice and you go out and do it, I'd rather you go and get professional
Especially
advice.
as it's been filmed.
Yeah, and especially because I'm not an accountant. Yes, sir.
Hi guys, so I recently went to the crash course.
Cool. Woo! Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Cool, I'm glad you said
They
that.
paid me to say that. So basically I want to take action, so I've been chasing lease option agreements.
Can you hold the mic?
Sorry, I've been chasing lease option agreements because I'm a recent graduate. What I was quite surprised with is that a lot of vendors seem to know what lease option agreements are, which I was quite surprised about. Is that just my experience? I mean, I've only talked to...
Depends. Where are you getting the leads from?
I've been looking at Sunderland.
No, where are you getting the leads from?
So I've been looking
Forget
at...
the area. Where
So Rightmove, filtering by oldest, going on Gumtree, contacting vendors directly.
How are you contacting them?
They've got their number on Gumtree. Just literally giving
So
them a call.
it's because you're probably the 50th person that's called them.
Okay,
Yes, that's the reality.
So is that specifically for Gumtree then the issue, or like I'm guessing Rightmove won't be like that, will it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Rightmove, very few people know what it is.
I was going to say I don't have many.
I haven't come
people
across that personally.
maybe
Okay.
on Gumtree.
How many have you found that know that are got? Oh yeah, lease option, one of those.
So literally, so I think I went to the crash course. Was it 2 weeks ago, the last one?
I think that's
We went there.
Right, yeah. So about 20.
So you've had 20
We've had 20
responses.
people that have all gone, oh, one of those classic old lease options.
I mean, not those words, but they're, rent to buy or anything like that.
Rent to buy.
Rent to buy is slightly different. Okay, so how are you approaching them? You're phoning them up.
Yeah.
And tell me how you're speaking to them.
Let's do it now.
Come on.
You mentioned about
What's hold
Go
the
on.
mic right to
Alistair.
your mouth. Stop moving your mic. Hold the mic right to your mouth.
Yeah.
What would you when you phone them up?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Right, you're the landlord.
Right.
Right. Do you phone them or do they phone you back?
Both. As in, I call them sometimes. I leave a voicemail. They
Okay.
call me back.
Shoot.
You want me to call?
You call. Okay, you call Alistair. Okay. So, right, we're gonna play this now. It's gonna be great. You're gonna rock this.
Yeah. Let me just put my glass of wine down.
Hold on. How many of you have been to the crash course? Most. Should you give them a power boost then? You know what that is, yeah? Yeah. Are you ready? What's your name?
Is
Is.
it? That is.
Oh, is that?
Is it?
Yeah. Get over that.
Did you get that a lot?
So
What's your name? Is it? Is it?
Yeah, quite a bit.
so Ross, am I playing hard to get or what do you think?
This isn't a date, mate. You know what I mean? It's like, unless you want it to be. I mean, if you guys want to take us outside afterwards.
Do you want me to be an easygoing landlord or a hard-going landlord?
Do you want me to be easy or hard to get?
Easy or hard-going? What do you guys want? Hard-going.
You want it to be hard?
Sorry, man.
Are you hard? Are you hard?
Move on. Come on. Pick the phone up.
Hello.
Hold on, you're ringing him.
Well, I'm ringing him. So ring. Ring.
By the way, by hard to get, he doesn't mean you're not going to answer the phone to him.
I never answer my phone in the first ring.
Okay, ring.
Hello.
Hi there. I've just come across your property on Gumtree. I was just hoping to ask you a few questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Could you just tell me a little bit about the property, please?
Well, you've seen it on Rightmove, or you've seen it on Gumtree?
Sure, but more to do with the condition. I couldn't see clearly from the picture.
Okay.
Stop you there. Would you be a dick at this point?
I fall into the role so well. Right, start again. Come on. I'll be a bit easier on you.
What I like though, right? You were like, hello, and then he was like, really friendly, which I've never heard you answer the phone like that to me ever before. He actually just goes like this. You alright, mate? That's how he always answers.
No, I go, yo, man.
Maybe, you're alright, mate. But then, as soon as he was like, I'm interested in your property on Gumtree, you were like, right, okay. Like, why would you do
Come
that?
on then, let's go.
Right.
Ring.
Hello.
Hi there. I've just come across your property on Gumtree.
Oh, that's amazing. Thanks for calling.
Do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions about it?
That's absolutely no problem at all.
Okay. Could you tell me a little bit about the property, please?
Yeah, it's a 3-bed terraced.
Okay.
It's in good condition.
Nice.
However, the back fence has fallen down.
Okay. Would you say that's the only issue with the property, or is there more work that needs to be done?
There's a bit of damp upstairs and downstairs.
Okay. Have you received many offers on the property?
Yeah, I keep getting these people ringing me up, like offering me like silly below market value deals, and I'm not really that into it.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm not into making cheeky offers either, so...
That's cool, man. I'm just looking to sell my house. How can you help?
Okay, so my name's Is it. I'm a property...
Is it?
Is it.
Okay.
Like, is it?
Is it? Go on, man.
I'm looking to buy a few properties in the area.
Okay.
And I really
Well,
like
it's £70,000. Just pay me the money and you can have it.
Okay. Well, I need to do a few comparables if that's alright. So do you mind if I ask you a couple of financial questions on the property?
Yeah. Okay. They're not too personal.
Okay. How much are you looking to get for this property? Is it around 56,000? I think it's listed for.
Whoa! I just told you 70.
Oh, sorry, 70,000 it's listed for.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any idea how much it's renting out for at the moment?
No, I live here, so I don't know how much it rents out for. I'm sorry.
Okay. What's the motivation for selling, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm just looking to sell my house. I want to move on. My wife cheated on me, so I'm just like, found out she was sleeping with my neighbour. So I just, not really, by the way. If you're watching this.
I was going to say, I'm not your neighbour.
Oh man, Nick cut. That's so funny. Come on, man, let's go.
Okay, so have you thought about renting it instead of selling it, or?
No, I just want to get rid of it because I don't want this property anymore.
Okay. in that case, obviously the money, it's not the capital that you're essentially looking for.
I didn't say that. I said I wanted to sell my house.
Okay. Okay. Well, what's the absolute lowest price that you'd be willing to accept?
I think we've already had discussion.
Is it so? Your market's on 70,000.
Yeah, I can't take any lower because it's worth 70,000. So, you know what? I don't want to take any lower than that.
Okay.
Are you in a position to buy it?
Well, I'm definitely interested in property, but I think the market needs some time to recover.
Okay.
So would you be willing to say, I'd be willing to make the purchase price offer in, say, 5 years' time, and in the meantime I'd be willing to pay you the mortgage payments every month, and manage your property myself, find the tenants, and essentially take the hassle off you for the property.
Is that a classic lease option agreement?
Yeah.
Man, give it up for this guy. That's pretty awesome. Listen, that's good. That's really good. I would do a bit more. I would actually go and view the property before you do that script, and get in front of the guy. And do a little bit of DD, but that was pretty awesome. But when the guys, just give that guy the mic back. When you have this conversation in real, are they genuinely saying to you they know what lease options are?
Not the lease options, but when I mentioned that kind of
the rent to buy scheme.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, I'm not interested in.
Yeah. See,
I find, look, the scripts are good. They've always worked for me.
Do you know what though? You didn't really do as part of the script.
Yeah.
Is I don't think you got to the situation where he exhausted the options and realised that you actually might be interested in doing a lease option. You kind of asked a couple of the questions, but you didn't go. So I think you need to be more natural.
Yeah.
I think you sound. I mean, it might be that you, in all fairness, that you're doing it to Alistair Cunningham. The Alistair Cunningham in front of 150 people getting filmed. In fairness, but you sounded to me a little bit nervous, like you didn't even know what was going to come next. So I would just say, just be like really super relaxed about it, and don't worry too much about whether you get it or not. You basically, all you're trying to find out, if you go in with this mindset, I think it makes a big difference. Don't go in the mindset of I want to get a lease option agreement. Go in with the mindset of I want to find out why they want to sell their house, and if a lease option is an option, then great. And so you don't rush for that point at all. You can just sort of, okay, awesome. So you look at what are you planning on doing? Are you planning on moving on? Or most people are trying to sell their house to buy another house.
Yeah.
Right. That's what most. And from your, I couldn't tell where I didn't know what your plan was because you hadn't got there. But if they're doing that, there's no point really even mentioning a lease option because it's just not going to work for them. So you're looking for someone who's trying to sell their house because it was an inheritance property, or because they bought it as an investment property and it's not making them any money and they want to get rid of it, or something along those lines. So it's really important that you just focus on exhausting the options, find out where they're at, find out what they want. It's the first rule of sales, isn't it? You need to find out what they want and then you give it them. So just be really super relaxed about it. Don't try and sell it to them. Don't try and get on the script straight away. I know the script's there for a reason, but you need to exhaust the options first. That makes sense.
Do you know my biggest tip I'll give anyone for lease options? That person has to know, like, and trust you, right? So don't try and do anything until you've got that some sort of trust from them that you're not going to rip them off. Now remember, lease options are that.
What, a little A5 notebook?
No, they're that. They're a blank bit of paper.
It's got lines on.
Do you see what I've got to put up with? Right, listen, it's a blank sheet of paper. So whenever you're doing it, it should always be so that it works for you and it works for them. It should never just work for you, never. It should always be work for you, work for them. So I hope that helps.
No, that's really
but just
cool.
get used to the script, get a bit more confident at it, and just keep plugging because it will come.
And just be yourself. Just be natural. Don't be worried. Just be asking genuine questions and find out what they want.
Guys, I know. Sorry, I don't want to keep you. I know you said not to go through real estate agents typically for lease option agreements, but is it worth contacting an agent and being like, let's sit down. This is what I'm looking for.
Listen, you do it. Please let us know the results. If it works, we'll love to hear.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Cheers.
Should we go? Okay. We'll come over to this side in a minute because this side's not been getting many questions.
We've got about 10 minutes, so.
Okay.
Hey. What advice would you give to 6-year-old like me that wants to start in the property industry?
to a 16-year-old that wants to get involved in property, what advice would I give? I would say you've got a lot of time to educate yourself. You've been on the crash course yet?
No, not yet.
Get on the crash course, start reading books. There's so much. Start hanging around people, going to the networking events, hanging around people that are doing it. They say, don't they, that you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. I actually talked about this on last week's show, but I'll mention it again. We've got a live audience here. But one of the interesting things about that, you all know that saying, yeah? You are the sum of the 5 people you hang out. It was Jim Rohn that said that. Okay. And we always think that means like your best mates and people you're physically with. But we live in like a social world where you can hang out with people, maybe not even physically. Samuel does a YouTube video every single day.
Yeah.
You can watch that and you're kind of hanging out with Samuel. You can watch the podcast, you kind of hang out with us. So I'd say put yourself in the right environment. Environment is key. Read the books, learn, you know. You're 16, you probably won't do any deals right now, but Samuel started when he was bought his first house when he was 17. So I would spend time now and then just start taking action.
Yeah.
And go on.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Do you know what's brilliant, right, is I think, is anyone here younger than 16? Okay, so the youngest person in the room.
We didn't give her a clap. We gave this guy a clap.
You're 18. Yeah. Right. So what's brilliant is I'll bet by a show of hands, who wishes that they were 16 and knew what they knew now? Yeah. Right. So most people in this room. You could have just stopped.
Who wishes they were 16?
Most people in this room wishes they knew what they knew now then. So educate. You need to get out there and you need to educate and start hanging around with people that are successful and start hanging around with people that are doing it and don't care what your friends think. Ditch them. Get rid of them. If you've got negative people around you, get them out your life. Start hanging around with positive people and just get out there and educate. Get along to all the free events, crash course, everything, and start educating. Because if you're wanting to do this now at 16, imagine what you're going to be like at 20. You're a powerful lady. Get out there and start learning. Yes, this lady waving.
Hey.
Hi, my name is Julia. So, did you invest in other countries as well, or only in UK? So, and if you didn't, which countries will you invest?
We did talk we actually haven't, to be fair, have we?
No.
Have you invested in Scotland at all? No, why would you? So we actually, however, we did talk about this. We looked at some of the best places in Europe to invest. I'm trying to remember. Was Portugal? I remember was one of them.
No. Do you know the best place in Europe the best place outside England to invest?
Go on.
Dublin. It's doubling in value every year. It is actually Dublin. Dublin is actually one of the best places. You done that joke on the podcast.
Yeah, when I did it was funny.
Hey, it was funny. So the answer to your question, I'm sorry, is no. We don't at the minute. But after our recent trip to America, I was out in America with Samuel. There's a lot of possibilities out there.
I saw that, yeah.
There is a lot. So I potentially will be investing in America in the next sort of 5 years.
What about Europe? Like, I'm thinking Germany is full of...
See, I like Germany.
Yeah, I do as well.
We get people that come to the crash course from Germany that apply these strategies over in Germany. I've got family over in Germany as well, so Germany would be somewhere I would potentially look at for sure.
I see myself as an immigrant, kind of, so I know a lot of people going to Germany. If they're not coming UK, they're going to Germany, so I think it's a good market there.
Yeah. It's a good market there.
Interestingly, I deal with a lot of overseas investors, and they're not investing in their own countries. They want to invest in the UK.
I'm one of them.
I don't know why, but they're not comfortable investing in their own countries at the minute. So they want to invest in the UK because they see it as a booming market.
I think it is. I think
the
UK is a brilliant market.
Especially Chinese and Asian investors. They love the UK at the minute. They love it. I've got more Chinese investors buying off me at the minute than ever. So. Hope that helps.
Thank you for your question. Give her a hand.
Anyone else from this side? The guy doing that.
Aren't they all doing that? Oh,
no.
Two fingers up.
You've got two. Yep. No. Yep. No. The guy behind you. We'll do you next.
Did everyone just change to that?
Yeah. The guy.
I'm doing that.
The guy that's standing up. Hey man, how are you?
Hi. So, quick question. when you are, so you talked about having investors and people that can buy properties of you. So when you're just starting, how do you actually invite people to invest with you to allow you to scale? And also, if you have let's say like a full-time job where you're getting paid and your returns from your investment is not making enough money, I mean, at what point do you make the break, or would it be worth your while to sort of switch?
Well, we talked about this, about leaving your job, at what point you do it, and we actually disagreed, didn't we? Yeah, we disagreed really. So what I think you should do is, I think you should stay in your, as long as you don't hate your, if you hate your job, it's making you depressed, then get out of it. As long as your job is okay, I think do it in your spare time, build the income up, and then slowly cut your hours down until that has replaced your job, and then leave. Alastair thinks that you should just, if you've made a decision that you want to invest in property, just quit your job and just go for it, and that's what he did.
I need to explain that though. Right. If sorry, you just stand up, man. Right. What's your?
Remember talking to this.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to lean in, but I like to look. So what do you want to do with your business? What do you want to do with property?
So just to help me retire.
Right. Okay. So have you got any investment properties?
Yes.
How many?
3.
Okay. So you're already on your way. So what passive income do you get from them the investment properties? Roughly.
About maybe 70, like gross.
Okay. So how much do you get per month?
About 3.5 grand.
Right. Okay. What do you do for a living?
I'm an IT contractor.
Right, okay, so you earn decent money. Could that 3.5 grand could you survive on 3.5 grand?
Yes.
Right. Okay, so you are in a position where you could leave your job.
But I get way more per month.
That's fine, that's not what I'm asking.
Yes.
Could you survive on 3.5 grand a month?
Yes.
Right, so you could leave your job?
Yes.
Right. Now, do you know what will happen when you leave your job? How many hours do you work?
40 hours a week.
Okay, so part-time. I'm kidding. Okay, so look, when you leave your job, you're going to suddenly get all this free time. And use that free time wisely. So like when I was looking to get into property, I hated what I was doing. And I know I'm going to be successful. It's in here. I have a burning desire in here that I am going to be successful no matter what happens. I wrote a book called Whatever It Takes because I'm going to do whatever it takes, yeah? So if you have that burning desire and your job is holding you back, leave your job. I truly believe that if you genuinely believe you're going to make this. If you're half-hearted at it, you're only going to get half-hearted results. If you're fully committed, you're going to get fully committed results. It's not for everybody leaving the job because some people aren't fully committed. They tell themselves they are, but they're not. Because when the shit hits the fan, are you still going to be committed or are you going to be crawling back to your job? What is it?
I'll be committed, so
if you're a contractor, can't you just knock you down, work down a bit? Do less hours, do 30 hours a week?
Yes, I can.
There's ways around everything. If you genuinely want to do this, you will do it. You'll find a way. You'll either find, successful people have reasons or results. They don't have both. So if you genuinely want to do this and you genuinely want to kill it in property, you will find a way. And if that means only working 2 days a week in your IT contractor and having 3 days in property, then you will. So when I first started, I gradually done it and then bang, done. I went down, I gave myself a couple of days and then that's it, I killed the job off. As soon as I started making them, literally, I sold my first deal and I made more money in 2 days than I did in the whole month. Suddenly now I'm selling 12 to 15 deals a month, making 30 to 40,000 pound a month. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had a job. How important is your job to you, man? Because at the minute, all you're doing is you're making somebody else rich.
Sure.
That's my belief. You might not agree with that.
I don't totally agree with that.
So, see, he doesn't agree, but do you know what? It doesn't matter. It's my belief. You can listen to
Let me tell you why I don't totally agree. I mean, it depends on what you want to do, right? But a lot of people love their job.
Yeah.
Right. So if you love your job and you're already financially free because you could live off 3.5 grand a month and you're getting that passive income anyway. So it depends on what you want to do. If you love being an IT contractor, then do that.
Yeah, but that's different. If you love your job, that's brilliant.
Do you love your job?
I love it.
Well, do it then.
That's fine.
Do
if that's
that.
what you want to do it. But if you're going to use your job as an excuse for not being successful in property when you want to be successful in property.
But he is successful in property.
I know he is. I'm not saying he's not. But I'm talking about people in general. I hear this all the time. People in general blaming the job for the lack of success. and it's
Yeah, but okay.
not you. I mean in general. I get it a lot.
If you love your job and you enjoy what you do, then do that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the advice that Alistair just gave you was to go and set up a deal selling business, which is, guess what?
Not everyone's cup of tea.
It's another job. A job that you might not like doing. We're designed to work. That's what we're designed to do. Some people would like to go and sit on a beach. I want to work. I want to do a job. So if you enjoy what you do, it's important that you enjoy what you do because that's what you spend most of your time doing. If you love being an IT contractor, do that. Do property on the side as an investment. That's fine.
It just
or
depends
if you want to do less hours and do more in property because you love that as well, then do that. But you can't really go wrong. But I never would push someone to leave their job and say you're making someone else rich. I don't know. I know you did just say that, but I don't. I don't believe that.
It's not for everybody. But do you know what? I get so many people messaging me and saying, "Look, they're stuck in a dead-end job."
And
it's like, it's so frustrating because they're complaining they're working 60-70 hours a week, but then they don't give themselves the time to develop their own business, and it's actually really depressing. Because the reality is, I'm not referring to you. I'm just referring to a lot of the messages, my experience. The people, all they're doing is they're working a job, and they're not working on their business. I was always told, mind your own business, as opposed to somebody else's business. So, look, I'm not referring to you. If you love your job, man, I really love that. I hated my job. I hated it. And to be in a position where you love your job is phenomenal.
So the answer to your question is yes, leave your job and stay in your job at the same time.
Pretty much.
Give him a hand! Okay, one last one, and then we're gonna have to move on. One last one.
Come on, we're gonna give it to the most excited. Come on, man.
This is the last one. Oh, she's very excited. Should we? Yeah, go on. Stand up. Sorry, guys. She was just more excited than you. It's better be a good one now, though. The pressure is because they wanted the question. Go on.
Hi guys, I'm Aloha.
Hello.
So it's about service accommodation in London. Is there any way to get around the 30-day rule? Because I know for a fact there's so many people who are doing it in London. I'm thinking.
Well, I've got brilliant news for you straight off. Do you know the 30-day rule? It's a 90-day rule. So you're already 3 times better off than you were a second ago.
Yeah. It's a 90-day rule. It's not 30 days. Yeah.
So woo!
That's not better.
It is. It's
3 times better. It means you can have a service accommodation for 90 days as opposed to 30 days.
Oh.
Ah, it clicked.
Okay. That. Is there a way to get around it? Because
yes, 2 ways.
There's a legal way and an illegal way. Which do you want to hear?
Legal way.
The legal way.
Yes, please.
The legal way is harder.
Okay.
We'll tell you the illegal way when the camera's cut.
Okay. No.
There's no such thing. We don't condone that at all.
Now they're all going to think that when the camera's cut. All right.
There's no such
legal
thing.
way. You can change the usage, right, from to a C1, which is basically like a guest house. You got to apply for the council, change the use for the property. If you get the change of use, you can do it. Boom. Right now, that's the legal way. The illegal way, which I really highly recommend you shouldn't do, but what people do, and seriously, you really shouldn't do this. But if you did do it, this is what you do. You would, what people do, because it's 90 days, is they put 4 different ads up on like Airbnb and Gumtree and stuff like that with different pictures of the same property, and then they rent that out for 3 months, that one out for 3, but it's actually the same. However,
it is illegal. It is
illegal, and if you get caught, it's a 20 grand fine.
Do you remember in a podcast we done?
So don't do it.
Remember that fine, that news article we done? I can't remember. Nick will be able to tell you what
someone got with a service accommodation.
It's ridiculous.
There's not many rules, but the ones that are there, don't break them because they fine the crap out of it.
It was like £70,000 fine. It was a massive fine the person got for breaking the rule when she got caught. So anyway,
but the best way around it, the really best way around it, is to not do it in London.
Find somewhere else that works because there's plenty of places.
Or do it for 90 days. It was 3 times better than you thought it was a minute ago.
You're already 3 times better off.
So we should have made your day, but you look very disappointed.
No
that's
problem.
her happy face.
No problem. Thank
Brilliant.
You very
Give
much.
her a hand.